I totally killed my other live. Whatever, man. I'm just gonna start talking. God, I'm so sorry. Whew, what a mess, dude. I've never fucked up a live this bad. Okay, what's the topic? If people want to hop on, if you're able to hop on. Jesus Christ, man. I fucked this shit up. My bad. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, I messed up. Anyways, so the topic is Aaron will join us once he's able to. Whew, I know I already lost a couple of you guys because I accidentally shut down the live. um, so our passport bros done for. All right, Aaron says he's hopping on pretty soon. Our passport bros done for. I think so. I think so. Comment in if you guys are able to hop on this one. I totally messed up. My bad. But I think Passport Bros are done. I actually saw this at the back end of when we went live on Passport Blueprint's channel. Um, yeah, I think a lot of them crashed out. To be completely honest, if we're gonna bring up certain names like Floyd, I mean he was the biggest crash out. Normally, I don't like to call out individuals, but since that individual since that individual was so obnoxious and downright mean to other people, I don't mind calling them out. For other passport bros that fell on hard times overseas, I actually do have quite a bit of sympathy. Um, you know, because a lot of us guys, here. Hey, what's up, my
Hey,
man?
hey, what's up? Hold up a second.
Yeah, I completely screwed up the last live stream. I accidentally exited out.
Yeah, I'm on my phone. Apparently they send different links depending on what device you're using. So I got the link from Aaron, and apparently it's to the mobile device. So
Oh,
just
got it.
yeah, so it's a separate type of link. So the link you sent me is only for mobile devices, but I'm on my personal phone.
Okay, okay. Um, well, yeah, my man. If you want to introduce yourself, this is the first time you've been on a live for my channel. Now we could dive into the topic.
Yeah. I am Passport Blueprint. I am a travel content creator. I talk mainly about how to travel properly, basically getting low airfares, how to travel safely in terms of getting proper visas, uh, going to various countries, how to protect yourself from scams and other things. I lived in Israel for 3 years when I went to school. I been to countries. I've been to Brazil, Mexico, Canada, Iceland, uh, Kuwait, and Iraq because I was a U.S. Army soldier. Um, Jordan. So I kind of been across the pond quite a bit. I don't go to a lot of these passport broke countries, except for Brazil.
Uh,
I currently a dual resident of U.S. and Mexico.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, you're more well traveled than a lot of us, than myself for sure. And well, and not only that, but you've been to multiple regions of the world. Uh, I've only really been to Latin America. or
No,
permanent
just
in
I have
Mexico?
temporary residency right now in Mexico, and that's being legally a legal resident of Mexico. It's temporary, but I will be renewing it for the next 3 years. In January, February timeframe, I have to go back and do that process again, and after that, I'll have that for 3 years, and I have to show evidence that I'm interested, and then out in my third year, I will put in for a permanent residency.
Okay.
Cool. Cool, cool. All right, I'm switching headphones here, so hopefully it doesn't distort everything. Sorry, guys. My volume went out on me. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, I might have to switch one more time. Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I understand. I know Mexico for proximity reasons, and probably I'm imagining cultural reasons, but also when you started the process for residency, I imagine it was a little more simple than it is now.
Um, in a sense, yes. In a sense, no, because I did the economic sovereignty path, which means you have to make a certain amount of money per year or per month, and I just barely made it by a couple $100 for that monthly
Okay.
requirement. So I had to go to the Mexican consulate here in Phoenix, Arizona, where I live, go through that process over there, and they'll give me a resident visa, which is good for 6 months. And then I have to travel to Mexico to complete the process, which involves just going over there, getting a card. I used a company which still have that lady's name on it. She's kind of a cutie. Older woman, but still a cutie.
Yeah.
I think it's a Yucatan relocation service. I believe that's what they call. Yo, salute Ulysses. Um, I use them because the paperwork is in Spanish, and I'm not very well versed in Spanish, so I want to get that taken care of. And plus, it will be an easier path for them to do it for me, so I can get that done correctly the first time around. So I have them do my paperwork, and I met with them in Mexico City and paid them, and we went over to the immigration office and did our magic. And I got 1 year. They start off with 1 year temporary, then after that it's 3 years, and on your third year you can apply for permanent.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's pretty similar to here. It's just 2 years here, then you get to apply to permanent.
Yeah.
Shiro and Falco, and what's up, Ulysses? How you doing, my man? We're gonna get you on. We're gonna do a panel eventually once I figure that out. My channel here, but
Hmm.
bateko, baishepa, baishepa. Yeah, I'm just that's the greetings here in the Guarani.
Oh, Guarani.
So
Okay.
yeah, I don't speak much. I know very minimal, but yeah, that's what they're saying.
Can't hear you.
Um,
Okay, there you go.
okay, okay,
There you go.
cool. Let me just make sure real quick I'm on the right Wi-Fi. I connected to the correct Wi-Fi. I was connected to
Okay.
the extender, which is farther back in my apartment. Okay.
Okay.
Um, yes, yeah. So you've been to lots of regions of the world, but you still do you feel that Latin America, uh, that's where you wanted to end up eventually? Um, and live in Latin America for the long term?
Um, Possibly. I'm not really sure yet because Europe is kind of very interesting at this point, especially with the job market and stuff. Um, I would probably end up in Europe, but I think it really all depends on what the market's going to be like, the job market. If the job market is going to be solid in the United States, then pretty much retirement in Latin America is going to be more sound. Um, but right now, I'm even hearing there's even problems trying to get jobs in Europe. Getting into Europe is starting to become a pain in the butt. So we're dealing with a global situation with jobs and stuff right now. Um, Even though I'm doing research and there's been push for trying to get foreign workers to work over there, but we'll have to see. I think more than likely I'm probably going to end up in Latin America due to its proximity. If we can regenerate the job market here, which it will, but it's just right now a little bit painful.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. No, Europe is incredibly interesting, and it's so nice because I hear of just from everybody the ease of travel.
Mm,
If you're pretty much anywhere in Europe, you can take what like 100 euros, and you can take flights to other countries, and um, yeah, there's a certain special. You can constantly be traveling in Europe almost.
mhm. Yeah,
Uh,
but I definitely do like to be a little bit closer to the US, to be honest with you. So,
okay.
being over here in Latin America is going to be ideal, to be honest with you. Um, the fact that, and plus, right now, the instability that's going on over there with Russia, everybody is up at arms right now. So, we don't know what the situation is going to be at. But Latin America, I just love Latin America. Um, my first time really dwelling in it, but I've been around Latin Americans, Puerto Ricans and Dominicans since I was, born and raised in New York City. So I've been around that community since, when I was a kid. I've been involved in their culture, and, it's just wonderful group of people, wonderful culture, um, good vibes. Always been great with these people. So I had really no problems with the Latin culture. Coming out to Mexico, it's been a little different, although we had Mexicans in New York City. Um, Not really much of a difference, but I found the Mexican culture very welcoming when I went to Mexico. They were very, very welcoming. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else I can explore in Latin America.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you're a New York City guy.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, you got a feel for Latin culture, at least inside America, and then you started
Mhm.
traveling. So yeah, no, very interesting. Yeah, so you and Aaron linked up because of you both have in common that Mexican residency.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and yeah, that's cool. So eventually, do you see yourself with multiple beyond what you have now, residencies and passports?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking at Paraguay. I'm actually once I finish this, getting renewing this residency, Paraguay is next on the list.
Awesome, awesome. Do you know do you have sort of a timeline? I know you said in one more year, so you're finishing up Mexican.
I
So
really don't know, but it is on the list, and the reason why I chose Paraguay is because it's an easy residency to get, and I'm telling people right now, you know, with the instability of what's going on in the world, having a plan B, you need to get that plan B option.
oh yeah,
Because the fact of the matter is that sooner or later you're gonna have to find a place where you're gonna have to go, or a place you want to retire to, and you want to start your foundation now while it's easy to get. Um, but there's been citizenship by investment programs are right now shutting down, mostly in Europe, um,
Mm-hmm.
because of security issues. And then eventually that's going to be pressuring to other countries that people may find it easy to get citizenship by investment that can be national security issues to the United States. So, with that being said, getting in now before they make any whatever changes, it will behoove you to start the process now before they say, no, you're not, you can't come in the United States, or no, we're not accepting such and such in the country or whatever, or things like that.
Absolutely. No, I absolutely agree, and I have the same messaging on my channel as well. Do it now before it either gets harder or becomes impossible. Maybe not exactly for Paraguay, but certainly other countries. What up, Lo? How you doing, my man? If you
Mhm.
guys don't know Lo, he came here to Asuncion, and we met up in person a couple times and had a
Mhm.
good time. So yeah, Lo's a homeboy
Yeah.
from the West Coast. Uh, yeah. So, well, what's up, Aaron? You're in here too. Okay. What's up, my man? Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get a passport blueprints. Thoughts on a few things. Then, Aaron, if you want to stay on and hop on a little bit later, that'd be cool. But yeah, so yeah, man, that's cool. And the reason I had this conversation going is because, like, you start separating the goofies from like the true relocators and um the permanent relocators, but even just the more serious travelers, the ones who are really scoping out investments, where to live, residencies, vibes for the city, certain neighborhoods, land, other investment opportunities. I mean, uh,
Mhm.
and I'm sure you get this too, having a channel that if they hit you up either by email or whatever, Instagram, you can separate them out pretty quickly.
Mhm.
uh, the serious versus the non-serious people. Um, and it's interesting if we bring in the whole Vitali situation in the Philippines. That sometimes it doesn't take, like, and I don't think the Philippines is going to start changing any laws for foreigners. But it could there could be things that are certain incidents that foreigners do that locals or people where you're trying to go will look down upon you for an acts of a certain individual,
Mhm.
which won't be good. So I haven't seen anything insane like that go to here in Paraguay, but it's happened in Brazil. Colombia is one of the worst. Some of the most degenerate shit goes down there, beyond the normal degenerate stuff. Um,
Mhm.
and Vitali made a fool of himself in the Philippines, so now the whole Philippines is on. They a lot of Westerners go there, but the more and more clowns that show up, and they're unfortunately sometimes the loudest voices and do the stupidest stuff. Well, I there might be laws that change because of that.
Mhm.
Um, so it may not always just be because of capacity, and it could be because literally a few individuals fuck shit up for everybody else. So I don't know. It'll be weird to see how that plays out
Yeah.
going forward. But yeah. So yeah, I don't know. What else do you have to say about this broader conversation about, I guess, passport bros? Do you think it'll survive? Do you think it's phasing out? Um, what do you
Here's the
think about it?
problem. Here's the problem with that. If you look at it for the terminology of what it is, the terminology don't fit the actions. First and foremost, passport bros were about guys going overseas looking for wives.
Mhm.
Um, that was the definition. What we're seeing is guys going over for pay for play. Now, there's another word for that, but no one's using it, and that's sex tourist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why aren't we putting these guys in that category? And plus, these guys said they're not passport bros, so they're sex tourists. Why?
Mm-hmm.
And some of these guys hide behind terminologies like expat, digital nomads, travelers. Off they can go and do that, which that is your business. But my
Mm-hmm.
complaint had always been, don't put this stuff on the internet where people can watch, because now you make the country look bad. You make a certain ethnicity of men look bad, and people and these guys just don't care because it just doesn't look good, because someone's going to make like these guys are a bunch of predators,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they're coming for the country for, instead of for the culture. And right now I'm starting to see, I already saw 2 channels pop up that's going against these guys that's doing this stuff, but they still call them passport bros, and they're not passport bros. These are S tourists,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing. Um, they sitting around here. They want to go to these countries, live in these countries, and try to live out some type of a fantasy of being a baller with all these girls and stuff. These girls are the majority of these girls they have on here are pros,
Mm-hmm.
street pros, and they're talking about they're living this life that you know my U.S. dollar stretches over here. Well, with everybody going over there, you got gentrification now. Rent's going up. Cost of living's going up. So they're milking you guys. So it's not expensive. It's not cheap to live there. You're starting to get New York prices in some of these places like Medellin and even down in Rio.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes no sense. And now Thailand's getting expensive because everybody's flocking over there to be part of this cheap living. But they're going to these places known for these red light districts, and they're not going for just to actually stretch their dollars and live and stuff like that. And then they put these YouTube channels up, and they get these views and stuff, and they make this money, but it's basically a new form of OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's become.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I've actually just literally today saw a video that Thailand is starting to become way overpriced, which, people flock to Thailand because of the loose laws that it has come with that kind of stuff, the huge major red light districts. Um and yeah, and Southeast Asia, it does have its own issues because I mean, Southeast Asia is the epicenter of the world. When it comes to population, it's not Europe, it's not anywhere else. It's certainly that region of the world. So you just have to have people coming in constantly. Um, and Colombia and at least for our hemisphere, it's just far too close, and I guess Dominican Republic too, for that matter. There are other countries as well, but it's just so close. People can come on a Friday and go back by Monday morning. So they do all their degenerate stuff in 2.5 days, and then they go right back. Paraguay is a little bit different. You really have to come here and want to be here for a while. I do know people who have hit me up and in the wrong ways and been like, "Hey, where do I go for that kind of stuff, and quick thrills and all that?" And I just immediately shut down the conversation. I'm like, "Look, man, don't don't talk to me about that shit. I ain't here for that." Um, you know, and this is my country of origin and stuff, so it's more personal for me too. Uh, yeah.
Hmm.
Let's get some comments. Bate Copio, Mateas, what's up, man? ¿Qué tal? What's up, Aaron? Tyler, been distracted by May helping her with classwork. Oh, nice, man. Nice, Tyler. Uh, that's his. Is that your girlfriend or your wife? I forget. Uh, anyways, Aaron, these sex tourists are becoming the degenerate plague of the travel space. is causing the gentrification of neighborhoods, high cost of living, increase in crime waves, and lack of real community. Yeah, and the whole gentrification thing. It would be one thing if these guys were getting residency, staying for months, like you're saying, investing in businesses, putting their money to the right stuff to create real economic growth. But if you're just giving money to pros, that's not propping up a nation. That's not even propping up a city. Uh, and then that creates more groups of whatever you want to call them, gangs or cartels that start involving themselves with the pros. Then it becomes even more dangerous, not just for expats, but for locals as well, because organized crime just keeps expanding if there's more people to exploit. So I don't even want to say exploit because a lot of these guys are asking for it. So, you know, um, yeah.
Yeah, and
So I've
that's
been, yeah.
the thing. It's just, what you do in your private matter is your business. But when you
Mhm,
start making these countries, especially when you see a majority of these guys being black and they're doing this stuff, it sends a wrong message. It
mhm,
gives a bad optic. And I try to push that optic. Somebody decided to come after me on a personal level.
mhm,
And well, he just put him and his family in my crosshairs. So let's just leave it at that. Because when you step out of YouTube space, you can disagree with me all you want and say whatever you want on YouTube. But when you go outside the YouTube space and do something wrong, you just gave me an open invitation to do whatever.
mhm,
So whatever's going to be happening to this YouTuber. But the thing about it is this: the optics don't look good when you got a flight full of black men going to a country, nothing but black men going to a country, a particular country, and you know what they going there for. It don't look good. And then a lot of these guys, you talk about Floyd crashing out. I got guys crashing out worse than Floyd,
mhm,
and you really don't hear about those guys because a lot of other content creators have can talk to me, told me some of the horror stories they've been dealing with guys that will go on a trip for 8 days and then become broke in day two of their 8 day trip because they only brought like $200 or $300 in spending money.
mhm. Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
it's because these guys have no concept on traveling and exchange rates and how much the fees are going to cost. They don't know how to properly prepare. And that's why I designed this channel for people who are going to go overseas to properly prepare themselves. But on the flip side of it, they don't look at my channel. They want to look at the crash out stuff. They want to look at the anything that's sexual in nature. They want to start beef online. They want to start all this stuff and cause all this drama and headache. And what we're trying to do is build a positive travel community
Mhm,
so that people who want to relocate, they can relocate. That's why I'm kind of more into relocating and traveling stuff rather than this whole nonsense that we usually see. I don't go and just put half naked women on my channel or thumbnails or anything like that. We're here to give you guys information. Just in
mhm.
case if you want to retire down there, you want to move down there, you want to be a digital nomad, we want to give you the proper information for you to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's right in the name of your channel. Great name, by the way.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And yeah, and these guys shoot themselves in the foot. I said it multiple times to Aaron, but I'm like, I know that there are guys who waste more in Medellin in 3 days than I do in 3 months living here in Paraguay.
Yeah.
um, and I live a simple life. I have my dog. I might go out to the food park every once in a while. I might go to Asuncion downtown once a month. I went out a little bit more when Aaron was here, but I've calmed down and all that stuff. But yeah, and I honestly, it's only what I've seen on YouTube about the black travel space. Like you probably see it a lot more. I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
honest. I see more white guys acting fools here in Paraguay, or that hit me up um, that just start confessing what they want to do or what they have done or that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to be honest, every um, this is just me, and I know I have a smaller channel, but every black guy from the states who has hit me up have all been serious. I don't know if that speaks to Paraguay itself or just wanting to come here to this place specifically because I say in general more serious people want to come to Paraguay because we don't have those quick drills. Yeah, you can find them, but it's not going to be easy. Um, and yeah, Paraguay is more for people who just want to live a long, more chill life. Uh, you know, so um, yeah, but very interesting. But what were you saying at the beginning too about since the infancy and passport bros? Yeah, I have no beef with or disagreement with men moving abroad in general. In fact, that's what my channel is about, and most of my followers are men, like probably like 90%. So I do a lot of the same stuff you do. I show places, prices, talk about all the logistical stuff, but also the day to day life and cultural stuff, what to say, not to say, even when it comes to dating, that kind of stuff. So my channel is very similar to yours,
Mm-hmm.
and the passport bro movement started in its infancy to be something very good. I think that there are some bad actors who kind of gave it a bad name, but I certainly don't take away from what it's supposed to be, right? Which is men finding long-term happiness with the right woman. And yeah, you're gonna have to date a few for sure. That's normal. That's life. I say that all the time. Um, but but yeah, but the goofies out here, like unfortunately, a lot of them have the loudest voices. I've only actually ran into a couple crazies, white guys again. One in particular is from Australia. He started like stalking me and creating all kinds of fucking accounts, all because he thought I was simping because I had a girlfriend, and a one girlfriend in the entire year I've been here. So really weird, really fucking weird guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I completely feel you there too. That because this place is so close to heart for me, I got to be careful how I move, like even in the digital world and stuff. Um, and I don't. Again, I agree. I don't put half naked women on my thumbnails at all. I don't agree with that. You're going down a path of degeneracy, even if it is something that a lot of people wouldn't think is harmless, but even something like that is still marketing in the wrong way to bring the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
And those people have come here, have shown up here. Some have even told me some guys from Brazil who I don't care for, but they've been here to Paraguay and they oddly want to gatekeep it, even though if anybody should want to gatekeep it, it should be me. Even though I don't believe in that philosophy of like gatekeeping information. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. There's just some weird guys, and that also speaks to the mentality of like, okay, let me go somewhere and then burn the bridge behind me. I see the gem of Paraguay, and I don't want anybody else to know about it. The beautiful
Mm-hmm.
women or how kind, feminine they are. I don't know if you've seen that either. About like, oh, I found this amazing place, and I want to do all the degenerate stuff here, and I don't want anybody else to know.
And
you
see that,
know?
and that's where the problem is. It's not about gatekeeping to do degenerate stuff. It's gatekeeping to, preserve not just the country, but preserve image. Because me coming in as a black man, I don't want to be portrayed. These are your people. Why they coming down here and all this? I don't want that to happen because I can imagine in Medellin, Colombia, what they're saying behind closed doors about who's coming down here doing all this stuff.
Mhm.
And that's the thing.
Yeah,
When you
that's got to be hard to have to think about that. Because when I come here, I blend in. I mean, not the way I talk or the way I dress, but like, um, yeah,
yeah, and
it's
that's
it's
the
too
thing I'm
bad.
trying. Yeah, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to get because us, we're starting to spread our wings in this international traveling, but we're going to countries where a lot of these guys don't realize that there's a lot of human trafficking issues going on, and this is going to come up. And they're saying why all these guys are now coming down there. We're doing a big crackdown on illegal immigration, so now they're seeing this whole flock of dudes going down there just for pay for play. Got biometric
Mhm.
equipment being put out in these airports. Where's this information going?
Mhm.
These are people that don't think about these things. That's why my portfolio where I travel, it's way different. I mean, there's going to be a consistency of me going back and forth to Mexico. That is because I can prove I have residency. It's documented. I am a resident here and I am trying to move. But when I start diversifying my portfolio by getting different residencies, would it be Paraguay or Sweden or Germany or whatever, they'll understand that I'm more of a traveler and I go to these different locations and stuff. And then they can look at my social media. And right now, they're tracking people on social media now to see where you're going. If they see you going mostly to these countries, they're going to put two to two together and they're going to come up with four.
Mm. Mm.
And
Yeah,
I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to spend more time in different countries but I want to set up home base in Latin America, just like how Alex is doing. He spends his time between Colombia and Paraguay.
hmm
You know, Mine's just going to be more U.S., Mexico, and Paraguay
hmm
when it all comes down to it. But at the same time, a lot of these guys, they're just looking off a passport. They'll stay just under the 180-day requirement, and then they go to the next country. It's just a lot of, and it's not the young guys that's just doing it. It's the older ones in their 40s and 50s, the bitter old divorcee. They're just even worse than the young ones because the young
that's
ones don't know better.
it's that's interesting that you bring that up because me and Aaron have talked about that. Yeah, you're right. A lot of times there are some of the divorcees who are incredibly bitter, and you know I'll just say it, man. But there's a guy who came down here. He supposedly wanted to meet a wife and stuff, and my thing, right? If I don't have a girl for the moment, I'll just be lonely for a while. I don't care, right?
Hmm.
I'll just wait until I meet a next girl, right? And he was here for like 5 days, and then he was already like, needing to go down that rabbit hole of paper play, you know. And I was just like, dude, you have the patience of like a fucking 16-year-old. I mean, I know you're only here for a week trip, and uh, I don't really. It was just, and so yeah. 2 points. You're right. So some of the older guys are worse than some of the younger guys. Um, and so, beyond even just paper play, some older guys are really good at lying and really manipulative.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
they're like straight pros at it, even when it has nothing to do with women.
Hmm.
Like there is a guy who was like living like a double life down here that I met or something. And then I'll just be honest, man. But his woman started hitting me up in email. Now I wasn't even gonna fucking engage, but at the same time, like I befriended this guy, so the only reason why I kept even reading the fucking emails was I was like curious to see, okay, this dude is like living a double life. I'm like, why don't you at least like warn me about it or something, And I don't know, man. So yeah, but that is interesting. Some of these older guys, yeah, they certainly are uh, not the best either, for sure.
And
Yeah.
that's why the younger travelers don't have that proper guidance. See, I've learned something, and shout out to Ronin Travelers. He's one of my mods. He's in the Philippines right now, and he gave a little bit of the history about us as Black travelers, how we're making an impact. We started this traveling out back in the World War One, World War Two, when we had the Buffalo Soldiers, because we
Hmm.
went out there and we fought in those wars. And our image, we cemented our image out there and stuff like that. And that's an image we've always had. That's why this lifestyle, you see a lot, mostly military guys involved in this lifestyle, you know, going
Hmm.
out, relocating to other countries and stuff and living out there. A lot of ex military, especially like in Thailand, Philippines, and stuff like that. A lot of ex military guys out there. Um, this new breed of people don't really know how to do that, because one, you have a younger group of travelers that's not even established. They're not established. They don't have 401ks they can rely on to, live out there. They just want to go because they're getting sick and tired of working and stuff like that. And it's like, grow up, dude. Work
Hmm.
is work. You're gonna have to work in life. That's just the way it is. Um,
Hmm.
this was a lifestyle for retirees and ex-military guys that have government money flowing to them,
Hmm.
and not just some little amount, a good amount of money. They can go live in these countries and survive because it was cheaper. Your dollars did stretch. Now it gotten to a point where now everybody thinking this is some baller lifestyle. The women are submissive. They just a lot of those women they paying they're prostitutes, dude.
Hmm.
Pretty much all those girls y'all see in these thumbnails and all this stuff, they're prostitutes. They ain't their girlfriends. They're not people they want to be in a relationship with. It's like the women living out these social media fantasies. These guys are doing the same shit. They're doing the
Yeah.
same thing. And
Yeah.
us, we're a different breed because we're looking at, okay, what if something happens in the United States? Do we got a place we can go? Do we have legal residency in other countries where we can live? Where we can go flash that card, hey, I'm a resident here, and we can set up camp. Do we have skill sets that we can go get ourselves a job in this country? Do we know the language? Which is another thing. People don't even bother to learn the language. And we got all these apps on these smartphones. Spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day learning Spanish or what have you. Guys don't even want to do that.
Yeah.
That's how pathetically lazy it is. And that's why a lot of these people, and I've been hearing this term coming out, they call us colonizers.
Hmm. That's wild.
Yeah. Because you come down there for the women, and then when you're down there, you want them to speak English and all this other stuff. It's like you're supposed to integrate in that society,
Yeah.
which is what I'm doing. I'm working on my Spanish because if I go to Mexico, because the first time I went, I kind of felt like, I should have focused more on my Spanish because I kind of felt like a fish out of water.
Hmm.
And I thought it was kind of disrespectful, but I kind of made a promise to myself to learn a little bit more Spanish so I can operate better when I get down here. So that's what I'm going to do. And hopefully, my next trip to Mexico, I'll be able to speak it a little bit better. And each time I go there, I'll get better and better at it, just so that I can integrate in that community.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And what I always say too is like, yeah, people want to see your effort. Um, you know, and if you put in a good effort, people are going to appreciate it. So, for example, I tell guys all the time, girls' patience will run out if they don't even see you making the effort to learn Spanish. Like, yeah, it might be all cute and stuff, the apps and stuff, the translation stuff in the beginning. But I know Paraguayans. I know Paraguayan women, and their patience will run out. Even if they say that it won't, it will. um, you know, But there's some guys that are so arrogant that I've so here's another example too. There's a guy who was living here for a few months, and I asked him, "Oh, are you going to the local markets in the littler city that you're in, right? Or are you shopping like more locally, right? So you're at least hearing the people, going down the street, meeting the lady at the dispensa or the bodega or whatever." And he said no, and I was just like, "Bro, what the fuck are you doing? You've been here for like 2 3 months. You should like make an effort." you know. Um, he was just sticking to the super centers. And I don't know. I know to each his own, but I'm just saying that if you want to live a more fulfilling life, and if you want more people to understand you, and to get off of some of these translation apps, and for even when you're around other expats. See, I find myself interpreting quite a bit when I hang out with expats and we're in group settings and all that stuff. I'm like, one day it'd probably be nice for you to not have to depend on my interpretation. you know? Um, so so yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. And there's a sense of laziness, like you said, but there's also a sense of arrogance as well.
Hmm.
Um, that exists with that. And even us Latinos from the States, right? Like it took me a long fucking time to get this down. Coming here for like 13 years over. Even Aaron has put himself in a lot of positions to better his Spanish too, right? Um, you know, I didn't have it in my household at all, so I was always putting myself into positions. But you got to get out of your comfort zone for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely. You really gotta just work on it, and a lot of guys don't want to work on it because they think, yeah, we're from America. You guys need our tax dollars. You guys need our American dollars. No, they don't.
Hmm.
No, they don't. I mean, here's the one thing that really irritates the crap out of me. And I was gonna make a video on this, and I was gonna crash. I was like, if I make this video, I'm gonna crash out. It's the term they use for these countries, and that's third world.
Mm,
Dominican Republic, Brazil, Colombia, Philippines, Thailand. These are not third world countries. And just without even going into the definition of what third world countries are and the elements that they need to have, you're going to these countries, you're eating food. Third world countries don't have food. Think about it. When you go to places like the Sudan, they're struggling to eat. You're
hmm.
over here, you're getting freaking gourmet cooking in these countries. So how is it a third world country?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's a difference between third world and a wealth gap distribution, which is what these
Mm,
countries over here are dealing with. Then on top of that, they start, okay, it's a developing country. Well, developing country is a term they use to get rid of third world country. So you're still calling it the same thing.
mm,
A lot of these guys don't know their terminology. And to break it all down, all those countries I've just mentioned, all of them in the top 75 richest countries by gross domestic product. No third world country produces gross domestic product. All of them. With Brazil always in the top 10, along
hmm.
with the US, China, Switzerland, all these other countries. So how are they third world?
Hmm.
You got a bunch of people who are geographically stupid with passports. And it's a majority of these people who call themselves passport bros, or they don't call themselves passport bros, but they out there doing pay for play. That's the That's just to show you the level of stupidity of what's in this travel space. They can't even tell the difference between a third world country or social issues like wealth gap distribution.
Mm-hmm.
That's how embarrassing it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've certainly heard that term my entire life, and it always bothered me. I brought this up in stories, but like Paraguay was always one of those laugh off countries, right? It sounds weird. It's this and that, and it's just like everything's flipped now because everybody wants to come to Paraguay. At least halfway intelligent people do. But yeah, no, I've heard that term my whole life. I thought it was incredibly disingenuous. Um, there's also extreme poverty in America. I know it looks different, but it's yeah. I definitely agree with you there. People don't understand the dynamics of the country, and people don't understand how countries are growing. Like for example, I foresee just like happened in Mexico, but I foresee in Paraguay one day there being a stronger middle class here in Paraguay one day. Now, not tomorrow, but maybe over the course of another 10, 20 years, because the middle
Mm-hmm.
class is shrinking in the US. So, anybody who's not taking this stuff seriously, and then they're going to find loaves of bread being $20 in the grocery aisle in another 5 years. Well, I mean, this is exactly why me and you tell people to, get on it. So, I'm gonna catch up real quick on I know I'm behind on comments, but low. I know we're going back, but tricks have limited mentality, or a limited mentality, and they usually don't go off the beaten path. Tell a trick to go to Paraguay, and he will say there is nothing there. Yeah, stupid people say this place is boring, but it's okay to be quote unquote boring. I guess what? Because there's not Lollapalooza here. Who cares, man? There's still a lot of fun stuff to do. You just have to talk to people and actually find where it is. Benjamin, it is also not propping up the moral and the spiritual fabric. Yes, yes, you're right. And the overall Christian values of the nation. Yes, that's extremely true, especially being Paraguay. We're extremely Catholic country, very God fearing people. Not everybody, but far more so than in the West. Aaron, very few men are going to go on this route like Ryan, Passport Blueprint, and myself on being intentional with the travel space. It's smart to live a simple life overseas than being a flexing sex tourist. Yeah. Low tricks are ruining women worldwide. Yeah, true. Aaron, Paraguay is the place that can save you and set you up for a peaceful life, whether living there full time, visiting part of the year, or retiring. Long term happiness, absolutely. Uh, yeah, Aaron, really great insight between you, Ryan, and Passport. Between us. I love the conversation about Passport Pro Travel Space. Absolutely. Benjamin, I'm coming to Paraguay to work with the expat community there to improve the nation and the standards to the standards of highly developed technologically advanced market economy. Yeah, I know that Benjamin's been sending me stuff over the months. What you like to do here? All good stuff for sure.
And I'm on the
And
same vibe. I'm on the same vibe as Benjamin. Because I'm in tech. I'm in
mhm,
cybersecurity and stuff like that. So that's something that I want to, contribute. And that's the thing a lot of guys are missing out is like, what do you bring into the country?
yeah,
Because these are skills that these guys will probably hire you for. And, you get yourself a job and you can make weight, instead of relying on doing YouTube stuff or taking these lame remote jobs. You don't you go into countries where there's you're going to be paying high taxes and stuff like that, like Colombia. Non-residents pay up to about like 35%, but that's why these guys only just stay there just under 6 months and then they go someplace else so they can avoid that. But sooner or later that's going to get cracked down. Brazil, you get any of their tours, long extended visas and stuff like that, you're considered a tax resident and they're going to
hmm
tax you.
yeah,
So Thailand's tightening up their stuff because there's money to be made, and they know these guys are making money, so sooner or later they're going to get taxed. So with
Yeah.
that, and plus you still being a U.S. citizen, so whatever you make, you still got to report it to the IRS. You know, however you look at it, however you look at it, you're going to be paying somebody in taxes.
Yeah. Yeah. And try to go places where you're hopefully not taxed twice, like here in Paraguay.
Well, Paraguay systems of taxing, I heard, is really, really nice. You really, really
Yeah.
got a tax plan. It's like what, a flat 10%? That's
Yeah. Well,
good.
it's zero on foreign income. But if you do make any money inside the country, then it'll be 10%. Or if you're like set up
Still
a
good.
business or something. Yeah.
Yeah, still good. Still good.
Yeah.
Either way, that's fantastic. Either
Yeah.
way. Better to just put a zero and stuff. Yeah, if you make zero, that's great. But if you make it within, still coming out king. 10% flat. Oh my God, that's wonderful.
Yeah. That's like how it should be all around the world. um,
Exactly. But they don't look at those things and stuff like that. They're just too busy want to go chase around women and all this other stuff. And now I'm hearing beefs about dudes staying with somebody else's girl, and that's the stuff we don't want to bring.
yeah.
Pregnancies, you know, dudes just sleeping around, hitting it raw, and then we got diseases and all this stuff. Dude, leave those nasty habits back in the United States, man. You're in someone else's house. And again,
Hmm.
people that do it, they'll start looking at it, and then when they start pointing out what race is doing it, now y'all gonna scream racism. But in reality, are they lying?
Mm. Yeah. It's actually, that is interesting. You bring that up because I do say all the time too that Paraguay, we're such a tiny country. We're 7 million at best.
Hmm.
So I tell people you got to be very careful with your reputation here. This is a small. I mean, yeah, it's a big metro area in Asuncion, but this is a tiny, tiny little country. Like most major cities in the U.S. are bigger than Paraguay as a whole. So the reason I bring that up is even if you want to keep your quote on or yes, you know if somebody wants to do degenerate stuff behind closed doors, cool, whatever. You're not putting on camera, but uh, these women, especially if you're like looking for this stuff within links online, uh, where to meet women and for that particular purpose, they have webs. They have other people they know. And once you put your photo out on one of these things and they know that this is exactly what you're looking for, guess what? It's going to be everywhere.
Hmm.
um, so, and then you're a mark. You literally, like digitally, And again, this is not a super dangerous place like Medellin, but at the same time, don't tell me that you want to come here and live your next 20, 30 years of retirement here and live your best life when you can't even be here for fucking 5 days and not even have patience enough to not sleep with a pro, because you're already ruining your reputation. Now I know
Hmm.
this stuff, but they don't understand like the depth that this world is digital. Even if you think that it's not that digital, it still is digital. You know what I mean? That's what some of these older guys are. They don't really get, but it's true. It's not, this ain't the fucking 80s and 90s where you can be a little bit more, I don't know, anonymous with it. um
Just
you
like the
know
guy who came at me, I found this whole family,
yeah.
where they live and everything, including where he lives.
Hmm.
Tell you, go around, screw around thinking you safe behind these screens and stuff. A lot of
Hmm.
people, a lot of people know how to do stuff. And the thing about it is, he went on LinkedIn and found my profile. And I know on my profile, it specifically said certified ethical hacker. And you still want to mess with me? Along with the other stuff that was on there that would have made you think about maybe I shouldn't mess with this dude. But now I
Wow.
got to do what I got to do.
Yeah. No, I mean,
That's the
I don't
level of
blame you, man.
that's the level of stupidity we're dealing with in this travel space. They don't know what geographically what third world is, and then they want to screw around with people, thinking that, oh, he ain't gonna do anything. You know, okay, I'm
Yeah,
just patient.
yeah, no, absolutely. And even myself, uh, I was very highly considering putting this one stalker dude on blacklist, right? So because like, yeah, I'm not gonna say that I'm the most connected person ever, but if you piss me off and if I feel the need to let some of the top people who offer residency services and beyond that, like even people who I know who work in immigration offices and stuff, like don't fuck with me and don't be a stalker because we don't need you here. It shouldn't have to come where I have to block you on multiple fucking platforms and you're making new fucking accounts and phone numbers to try to contact me and shit. I'm like, bro, don't find your fucking self like, don't find it a surprise if one day you become blacklisted down here. You know what I mean?
Dude,
I'm like,
especially you guys got Interpol over there, and
mm-hmm,
you can just go file a freaking complaint, and that dude is gonna have a red notice on him. He's gonna get picked up
mm-hmm,
globally, and that's the thing. A lot of these dudes don't know how these foreign countries work. And a lot of
mm-hmm,
it's just like when you see a lot of these, women going overseas and now they're getting arrested for doing stupid stuff because they bring that American, like I tell people, leave America in America. When you go overseas, you're a void, and you're just trying to seep in that knowledge. You can't act the way you act like you're home. You're
yeah,
gonna have to take stuff. I did that when I lived in Israel. Whatever BS happened and stuff, I didn't like it, and I wanted to throw hands, but you can't throw hands because simple assault is a felony in Israel.
mm-hmm,
You know,
mm,
and you really get, and those jails ain't nothing to sneeze at. Okay, and their justice system is not just. Okay,
yeah.
so
They're
you
they're not
really
gonna
have
care about who started it and all that. They're just gonna throw you both in. Yeah.
no. They're gonna take the side of like, are you Jewish? No. Okay, you going to jail.
Oh, got you. Yep.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
you in someone else's house, and
Mm-hmm,
people will side with their own people outside of a visitor unless it's something that's blatant.
mm-hmm,
And if you up there shooting your mouth off, acting this way, you don't need to have a passport. If you don't
mm-hmm,
know how to be calm and courteous and stuff like that, same thing in Jordan. Dudes, I know dudes that were trying to scam me. So instead of getting in an argument, here's your money, get out. I ain't using you no more, and we're done.
yeah,
You know, it's just I'll just blackball you on the internet. Is the most I can do. And if I can get your name and picture and stuff like that, I'll throw you under the bus as well. But
yeah.
you can't go out into this world all because you're American thinking that you can get away with that. We got Americans right now in prisons overseas. There is no Donald Trump to come save you. You mess up
Mm-hmm,
overseas, that is it. The State Department don't get you out of these situations. All they do is they send someone to check on you. They give you a list of attorneys you can use and a list of interpreters, but they do not get you out of problems. They don't represent you in court or any of that stuff. And a lot of these knuckleheads, and even the females, don't get it.
yeah.
We got Americans sitting in jail right now overseas, and they're serving long sentences for stupid stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And a lot of these, especially in Latin America, if you made a mistake or maybe you're speeding or something like that, yeah, maybe like some bribe money can get you out of that. But if you start doing stuff that's like really disrespectful to the culture, which, I'm sure that you've seen, like women are out there twerking in Dubai, which, yeah, you might think that, yeah, you could do that anywhere in America on any street corner or any wherever the fuck. But that's really insulting to their culture. Like, yeah, maybe you might think that that's not a big thing, but when you like insult their culture, that's a whole nother level of like you fucked up. You know.
And that culture
So,
is something I know very, very well about is the Middle Eastern culture. You don't
mm,
do stuff like that. That is very, very conservative,
mm-hmm,
and you don't mess around with stuff like that. You don't go and do stuff like that because you dressed appropriately. You know, you don't. It was like these girls that got tomatoes thrown at them and stuff because of the way they were dressing. No, you don't dress like that.
mm-hmm,
And plus, you're in Morocco. I mean, a lot of people ignore the fact that groups like Al Qaeda, ISIS are still around in some of these
mm-hmm.
countries.
Yeah,
These
yeah,
people
and
just
you
don't,
could be thrown in jail with them, and they hate
not even
Americans
throw to jail. You can get kidnapped
or
and
that. Yeah,
probably, deleted.
yeah,
There's a whole safety aspect to that. It's like these guys, they constantly go to Colombia despite, the travel advisory,
mm-hmm,
and they still go down there. It's like, dude, really? And they wearing gold chains and watches, and they out there flexing like they're a baller. I saw this one dude. He's all dressed up. He's outside of the out in Cartagena, outside the tourist area. He's dressed up, and next thing you know, guys are trying to snatch his chain, and it's like, dude, you're making yourself look like a freaking target with all this stuff on, and then you go
yeah,
into the hood.
yeah, yeah,
And got all these motos just swarming around him like bees to honey.
mm-hmm,
It's like, really, dude, how many times have we said this? Don't do stuff like that in that country. And they
mm-hmm.
still do it.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's yeah. So some guys really, really do ask for it.
And it
Some,
just makes the whole travel community look bad. And in particularly certain races of travelers and stuff like that. That's why we say be on your best behavior when you're out there, because we have to put an image, because we're new to this whole thing. And we, like I said, guys are not familiar about being locked up overseas. Got one dude who smuggled in gummy bears and stuff like that in Indonesia. He's looking at either a long-term sentence or possibly the death penalty,
wow,
because
yeah,
they're taking that stuff seriously. These dudes
wow,
they don't get it, and they don't care because they think the US is gonna, no, that's it. The US can't do anything in these situations and stuff because they don't have jurisdictions in these places. Y'all sitting there with this mindset that, I'm American, y'all can't do anything. No,
mm-hmm.
Johnny Somali is a perfect example.
Yeah, he's a fucking idiot.
But
um,
anyway, I'm gonna drop off so I let Aaron get up here because I think I've been up here a little bit too long.
no, man. Well, yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, yeah. We're gonna get Aaron on here, but I appreciate you hopping on, my man.
Yeah, I'll
Last thing
stay. I'll stay in the chat, man, because I think
okay,
this
for
is a
sure.
great conversation. But yeah, man, it's just my goal right now. If I can find a wife in Latin America, great. But it's not something I'm gonna go to Mexico or Paraguay and just like I want to do. No, it's right now. It's get Plan B set up. Get if I got the money, get the home set up, and then just live and see and integrate into society and see what happens. That's me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, man,
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure having you on. Great conversation, and we're gonna do this again at our panel, so we can get more
Yeah,
voices on
I'll get
for
my
sure.
Zooms. I think I'll get my Zoom set up, but I'll double check, get the Zoom set up. So next time we do it, we'll do it on Zoom. And that way you can get more people on. I just, want to get Aaron up here. I want to take up his time because it's really his. You guys started this, so get him on board.
For sure, for sure. All right, Aaron, if you're on here, I think it's the same link as before. So once Passport Blueprint hops off, if you want to hop on, that'd be great. Okay, yeah, let's get caught up in comments here. Aaron, let me know if the same link doesn't work for you. Okay. Yeah, going back to Benjamin, talking about development in the country, I would like to see a high quality subway that connects the airport to the city center in Asuncion, for sure. Aaron, flat 10% tax for any income inside the country, including a brick and mortar business or a property such as a house or apartment, Airbnb, 0% on foreign source income. Yep. Aaron, I'm super excited for Paraguay's growth in the coming years. The thing I love the most about Paraguay is its people and their eagerness for them to want to do business and simply connect with others. Andre St. Emery, hi from Florida. What's up, man? Aaron, password blueprint ain't no joke. Yeah. Aaron, that's true. You got to behave no matter where you go and travel in this world. Don't matter where you are. A lot of these passport bros don't think about that. They think they can break the laws. Mm-hmm. Aaron, let me know if you have any issues coming on. Otherwise, I think it's the same link that you had before. Yeah, Andre St. Emery. Spoken so true. Prisons overseas are no joke. Yeah, many have to pay for protection in prison. Mm-hmm. And term of prison are long for petty crime. I think I read that right. Okay. Low, great live. Yeah, yeah. No, I'd love to have voices on, man. And actually, I forgot to mention too that it is sad that our channels take longer to grow because we don't dive straight into the degeneracy as a lot of other guys do, or just show half naked women at all times. You know what I mean? Um, but our audiences are serious people, and in fact, even my landlord was like, because I filmed homes down here. I filmed literally this one and the one next door. So he was like, I can tell that you have a serious audience even just by eyeballing my videos. Even though I don't, have that many subscribers and I still consider myself to have a good amount of subscribers, but uh, you know, some of these other guys who focus on drama, they get a lot more, but their audience is far less serious, Um, Aaron, okay, you're going to be on Benjamin, and also a business class flight that goes directly to Rio de Janeiro from the airport in Asuncion. Yeah, I keep forgetting that there is no direct flight to Rio from Asuncion. You have to go through Sao Paulo, which is pretty bullshit, if you ask me. I think that a lot of people would go to Rio directly from here. Okay, T. I'm gonna grab another beer here, guys. Because I'm gonna be on with Aaron for a little while yet. So, T. Rechat. Why a lot of house in the city have electric fence just like South Africa? Here in Paraguay. Why do we have the lamp? Well, because not too much anymore, but like 10, 15 years ago, there would be quite a bit of thieves. Okay, here Aaron comes. But yeah, you're right. They're like barbed wire. This is it's people have been doing that forever. The whole barbed wire electric fences. My uncle has one, so yeah. What up, man?
What up, Ryan? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Let me know. Let me know if you can hear me because I got you through my headphones or my earphones.
Okay, now I can.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to speak as loud as I can.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes you're when you have your earphones in, for some reason, they like start cutting out. But I can hear you good now, though.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So you were on for at least, yeah. I saw you commenting in for most of passport blueprint and our conversation.
Yeah.
So hopefully you were able to do some stuff or spend more time with eating with your family and your girlfriend and all that. So
Yeah.
it probably
Yeah.
actually
I
worked
just.
out, right?
It actually did. I
Yeah.
mean, I think once by the time I hopped on, like after 6 on my end, I was pretty much already like basically free. But I was just
Hmm.
I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go somewhere to because right now I'm at a Starbucks, but I thought I'll just go ahead and like go somewhere else, to so that way I can. And in the meantime, I was hearing you guys as well, you and
Yeah.
Passport Blueprint. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That was a great conversation, man. Honestly, that was wonderful.
yeah,
Uh, I got
he's
your
got.
favorite beer, Aaron. I got
Oh
Aaron's
man,
favorite beer.
well,
Aaron misses
mine.
this.
Well, I'm not the only one that misses it. My dad does.
Your dad.
My dad's always been. We actually still got a can at home. We have it like a souvenir. Basically, it's like a reminder of all the countless pilsners that we've had. But yeah, man,
If
I
you
think
guys
more
don't
than anything.
know, I might as well just become a fucking sponsor by this point. But no, man, this is a great light beer here, and it's so reasonably priced, dude. I don't know, man. It's just even simple beers in the U.S. are just fucking outrageous, dude. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So okay, yeah. So yeah, if you want to just hop in, what you were hearing about the more grand conversation about serious versus non-serious? Do you think the passport bro movement is phasing out? Do you think that it should be brought back to what it first sought out to be for more serious men? Do you think the branding, do you think it's so tainted, or do you think that it could still be branded in the way that it was supposed to be?
Well,
What do you think?
here's my thoughts on it. Um I think that it can still be kind of saved in the sense that um there has been a lot of like reports in regards to the movement. There's one in particular, and I think I may have shared it with you like a while back, but I think CNA Insider did a documentary on the passport bros. Specifically like they pretty much focused on, I believe it was Thailand, and there was two in particular. One that was mostly focused in Thailand, which is like pretty much all of Asia, and the other one was focused on Colombia. I'll be honest, I think what you're gonna see, if I'm just kind of being a wizard right now, like just thinking ahead, I think you're gonna, I think, well, first of all, the whole movement, like, I think a lot of cases are gonna come out um, in regards to, uh, I don't want to say crimes, but like more so like a lot of incidents in regards to like paper play or um, like we're just now starting to see all of that taking place because of the digital age right now, the fact that we're in the internet. Because to be honest, a lot of these things have probably been happening for the last like, several decades. But I think there personally, I think there is going to be a resurgence. I'm not saying everybody, but I think people like myself, like Passport Blueprint, is there's going to be a resurgence of people that are gonna want to go to places, whether that's like to live temporarily or travel. Um, I guess my summarization of it all is that very few people are gonna make um very few people are gonna take the serious route, and I think the I think the less people there is, I think the more that we're going to be connected, like myself, um, like you, like Passport Blueprint. I think there's going to be a resurgence of community for those kinds of travelers. I think that Passport Blue movement and the phase, I think it's really like how Passport Blueprint was saying. I think it's really going to start crashing. Like like the way I like to compare the Passport Blue movement is almost like a recession. Like you're gonna have a lot of people crash out. A lot of people um, they're gonna end up, homeless in foreign countries, or they're simply gonna get caught up in dodgy situations, or which that has already happened. Um, I think you're gonna see countries start to respond and tighten up. There's gonna be a lot more sediment, and there's gonna be a lot more animosity. I really think because if there already is animosity to begin with in some countries, like the ones being like Colombia, Thailand, um, maybe like parts of Brazil. I would even probably throw in Europe because Europe is having their mass migration issue as well. I think you're just going to be seeing you're just going to see like a surge in that, and I think the whole passport blue movement is going to be pretty much like a laughing stock if we're going to be honest. Um,
Mhm.
that's why I think the original term for what the passport blue movement was a lot of what it originally was intended was for like military men that were in wars overseas, or there were contractors with the military, or there were businessmen, like serious high caliber, high class businessmen that, you know, they did business deals with countries in Asia. Like that older generation truly like was the passport bro movement in the sense that a lot of these guys, older generations, right? Maybe the ones that aren't here with us anymore, or the ones that are a lot more older, is that they're the ones that kind of set the trend before the internet was even around, right? So I think what's happening right now is it's a mix of things. You have the digital age, you have the ease of access to these kind of services like the play for play, you know, the ease of access to like drugs. Um, and on top of that, I mean, can I be honest? Like, I think people are just getting more stupid over time, like in the sense that they really just think like they don't like there's just people that they don't take the time to be intentional with their day-to-day actions or the things that they do, right? Um, and I personally think, and I think Brian could uh, could agree with, is that I think Paraguay for now and for many years it's not going to be, it's going to be one of those places that it's just going to be like overlooked, but it's going to be for the right people, right? And even if then, people will still visit countries just for the heck of it, right? And so um, I think, if we're going to be honest, kind of like what's been discussed before, there's been certain individuals that have come to Paraguay and they've left because they weren't successful with women, or they simply just didn't like it, or they say it was boring. Um, and so they go to these fast adrenaline places like Rio or Medellin, where it's a quick fix, it's a dopamine fix, and I think in the long term and even short term, you crash and burn. It's literally it's like going to Vegas, right? It's like myself. I went to Vegas. What was it, like almost 2 months ago? And I went. It had been like what 15 years since I last went, and it is like the most unsettling place you can be in, like physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So it's kind of similar to some of these places where you find where a lot of these passport bros go to, and they don't really build a sense of community. They don't build their communication skills with the people. They don't really network in the sense of like wanting to do business. Um, They mostly just want to go just to, you know, do, I don't know, like have sugar babies and, just not be realistic with themselves. To each their own. But like I said, I think the true passport bro individuals are the ones that are making chess moves, not checker moves. Um, and I think that's what differentiates between people that are very serious when it comes to this travel space and others that aren't, right? I was engaging right now in the comments. I'm already thinking of when I'm going to go back to Paraguay, um, for, obviously to explore more, look at like real estate, obviously see Ryan, like, and then not only that, but just also kind of get grounded, um, because uh, sometimes you do get caught up in the day to day, like in the U.S. with work, with politics, with the government, with all these things, and it's almost like it's almost like I don't see it once you step out of that bubble, right? Now that I've been back after 3 weeks that I was out there in Paraguay in South America, like it's funny coming back and almost feeling like, and again, I was on vacation, right? But it was also um, for a more serious kind of trip. But you seeing from outside, seeing within from the outside, it's a huge mind shift. And a lot of these guys that go for like as weekend warriors to these places where they're not, they're just blowing like loads of money, like thousands of dollars on, the worst things you can think of, and having too much fun. Um, they're not setting themselves up for success. Um, and me and Ryan have had these conversations. Like, if you're serious about travel, like you go to places where, you know, can you get a residency? Can you learn the language? Um, are the people friendly? Is it a safe country for yourself, for you and your partner, or for you and your kids if you have family? Um, you know, is there the possibility of maybe setting up a business one day based on the skills that you have? Um, so you got to take all those things into consideration. And a lot of these, what they call passport bros, they're not really doing that. And even if they are, they're just doing visa hops, to and from certain countries. They're basically just kind of floating throughout other countries, and they're not setting up roots. And I think that's the stark difference between a lot of these passport bros that they just travel. Now, if they just travel for good reasons and they actually explore the culture, they create content, they're actually like meeting people, they're trying foods, they're visiting sites, a mix of all those things, sure. But like when it's more based on those vices that gets a lot of views and gets a lot of people to want to, I guess, click on and stuff for entertainment. Um, it's just a recipe for disaster at the end of it all. So
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with pretty much everything you said. Um, start with the visa hopping thing. That stresses me out to think about, right?
mhm.
Uh, I understand that there were, especially when the pandemic hit, there were true digital nomads who, even to this day, right? But if you've been visa hopping for 5 years, that is incredibly stressful.
Yeah,
um, or hell, even just like a couple of years. So that's why like permanent residency or whatever, at least getting on the path to permanent residency is amazing, right? For 10,000
yeah,
reasons. Um, and yeah, no, you're right. And I mean, that might be that might be just the litmus test right there by itself. Uh, it,
yeah. True.
I understand people who are in the serious search for searching out the country that they want to live in. I get that,
Mhm.
right? But a lot of that you can really start following channels and doing a lot of that without even being on the ground. Especially these days, if you follow the right people. So that might be the one biggest, uh, I guess, thing that separates the serious versus non-serious. And again, you could be on the journey to eventually get residency, but that better be in your mind though. You know what I mean? At the very least. Yeah, and then there's the guys who, a lot of my friends back home brought up, strip clubs, casinos. When they get their money, they're going to Vegas and even Mexico to certain cities for pay for play or this or that or wherever. I'm just
Yeah.
like, guys, how long do you want to do this? You're in
Yeah.
your 30s. You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, like, for fuck's sake, you know? Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I get it there. If we're gonna go back to the branding of Passport Bros, it's a hard one, right? Because me, even when it first started, I was like, that's cool when it first started, like finding wives and again, we know that a lot of people don't give a shit about finding wives; they just want to pay for the rest of their lives, right?
Yeah.
Um, but even then, I was just like, I shouldn't attach myself to something that have bros, and I'm a little bit more hard headed. So I was like, I'm gonna start my own thing. So that's
Yeah.
why like I put like the we're the My Best Life gang or the we're the My Best Life hashtag My Best Life whatever the fuck and not in like the stupid ass ratchet way where it was like, hey, I'm living my motherfucking best life, and you're just out there twerking like at fucking 3 a.m. on the fucking corner, like drunk out of your goddamn mind and shit. Like, no, that's not living your best. That's being an idiot. I'm talking about like literally like sacrificing for a bit so you can live your best life, not the
Yeah.
stupid ass way that people said it. You know what I mean?
100%.
um so that was my thing about like not just I had issues with the branding from the beginning. Again, I understand the movement, what it's supposed to be. I don't know if it can go back. I would hope so, but that's why I think that like even though our channels grow slower, like Passport Blueprint channel, my channel, we have slower growth. People are in their minds like even though okay, yeah, sometimes I do stupid hashtags like my best life gang or whatever, but and they don't catch on like that. I just do it for
Yeah.
fun, but like the concept of like, oh, he gave me a blueprint for living abroad, or oh, Ryan's out here living a calm life, but it's his best life. It's not the most craziest shit ever, but he's still living his best life, cost effective, right? I mean, who in America can tell me that they're living in a brand new duplex for under 400 a month? Okay, you show me one person in America. All right, tell me. So, yeah, I don't like to be like that all the time, but there's a lot of people who have a lot of shit to say. And so, even right now, I'm looking for my next place, maybe in Capieta, or maybe I'll stay here for a bit. I'm still not sure yet. I have to see. But if I get this place in Capieta that I have my eye on, it'll be 313 a month. That's literally under 4K a year. um, yeah. So that's literally under 4K a year, which is literally less than some people pay for 1 month in some of the major cities in the US. So, you know, again, people can say stupid shit like Blueprint was bringing up, like, oh, but you live in a third world country. I'm like, okay, but I'm living better than you. And what you spend in a month, I spend in a year. So say that again. You know what I mean? Um, so it's just like Christ, man. And what I always say, it bores the shit out of people, but it's your goddamn retirement plan. There's no fucking way you're gonna retire in America. You don't have the money unless you're literally one of the most successful people or entrepreneurs. You're not gonna retire in America. You're just not.
Nope. And then, you know what? You know what the truth is? Very few, if they do retire, you know, they still have bills. They make very few people, like let's say the boomers, right? That the older generation that they made all the right they made all the right financial decisions in their early years. They lived within or below their means. They, you know, paid off their cars, they paid off their houses, they paid off all this debt. They have like a huge emergency fund, a savings account. You know, a good example of that is like my parents, you know, and technically they're both retired and they have money set aside for traveling and stuff like that, right? And just and even then they still live within their means. They don't splurge or anything, right? But you'd be surprised, older folks who they just didn't say they weren't handled the right cards. They weren't given the right cards in their early years, or you know, they made some bad financial decisions, or just things happened in life. They got divorced, they got sick. You know, a lot of retired people are they have to end up working. That's like that's a sad reality. Where when you're retired, you're supposed to like not work, and if you do work, you only work when you can, or you simply work on a hobby or on a passion that you have. You spend time with your loved ones, and you enjoy your life. But you got like a majority, like a pretty high percentage. I don't know the high percentage to be honest, but I've come across like, you know, information at times where they're saying that Americans or retirees are still struggling. Social Security is not enough for them to pay rent, and that's if they didn't pay off a house or they didn't buy a house to begin with, right? They're living with they're living in the houses of their kids' families, or they're living, I don't know, like like they're living in an RV out in the desert here where I'm located at, right? So like veterans and doctors and you know, so as crazy as it sounds, like for somebody like Ryan to be like, well, I'm paying $300 a month for rent in a smaller city outside um, of the metro of Asuncion. I mean, I can confirm for what I've seen, like at his place, like or when I was visiting him and stuff. Like, you know, literally have your own place, and you're paying a fraction of the cost, um, and you're in fact your place. I mean, I know this. Ryan knows this. He paid his place off in a year. That's the craziest. That is unheard of here in the West or in the United States to begin with. There's no such thing, and very rarely there's no such thing as somebody, unless they got millions, that say, "Hey, I paid a year's worth of rent," and yet he was able to make that happen.
Yeah,
So, yeah, you tell me, you know, who's the crazy one? And I'm saying that
yeah,
to the audience. I'm saying that to them.
yeah, yeah, man. And there's a lot of cost. I'm not gonna lie. There's a ton of, especially if you bring a dog, like I
Yeah.
did. There's a ton of cost to make a move. I'm not gonna lie, right? Um, and there's a lot of sacrifices you need to make, and one of the biggest ones is time and saving, right? Um, it's also taking a chance as well, right? Even if you have something lined up, like I've heard of guys who lost jobs within a month of moving abroad, right? And I'll be completely honest, I literally quit my job. I was like, I'm just gonna figure this shit out. uh, and now you know I'm working virtually again, right? So I was pretty fucking nuts, dude. I'm not gonna lie, but I knew though, especially at the age that I am, I was like, if I don't fucking do this shit now, I'm never gonna do it.
Mhm.
And it was the same feeling that I had when I was 20 years old. It was the same exact feeling. Like if I don't meet my biological family now, I'm just not going to do it. It's not going to be in me later. The drive is not going to be there. It's not going to, because I had to, I had a lease for an apartment. I was like, okay, my lease is up. Let's just go. you know, I had a bunch of shit, and I have uh, a handful of stuff at my parents' house, but that's it. But nothing like, and my dog, and I just moved. I was like, fuck it, dude. Because yeah, some of you have way more money than you think you do. For moving to places like Thailand, Philippines, Paraguay, wherever, right? But you want to wait forever. You want to wait like 10, 15 years or whatever. Uh, but I would say, you know, try to take a chance and maybe give yourself like a year or two or so to figure some stuff out because some of you guys need to breathe again.
Yeah.
Like get a step away from the fucking rat race because the rat race
Yeah.
will kill you. The rat race will absolutely destroy you mentally, physically, spiritually. Um, so it is urgent. Even if you don't have all the money in the fucking world, I get that. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
You are throwing up question marks. Even the guys who move abroad who have jobs, like I said, some of them have literally lost their jobs within a month of moving. But at the same time, uh, because their mindset was in the right place, like I got to make major changes no matter what. Some of them were able to rebound. Some had to go back for a while, and then they tried again. But if you never try, if you never do it, then you're just never gonna do it. You know,
Yeah.
um, there's no time like the present, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same for YouTube as well. Like I literally see because of the way that Passport Blueprint is, and even Ulysses as well, and
Yeah.
myself and you as well, Aaron. Aaron, if you guys don't know, Aaron's been hopping on a lot of live. I mean, I've done like multiple interviews with Aaron, well over 1,000 if you combine all of it. I mean, he went live on many other channels. He went live even all the way back to Jose Arteaga. So like, Aaron has a big presence, and that's gonna help him when he like does more of his videos, and it already has, right?
Yeah.
What I didn't like is a lot of guys didn't give you that advice. YouTube is hard. It takes a fucking long time, especially if you're not a degenerate and doing degenerate shit.
Yeah.
But I still think that YouTube is worth it. It has its place, right? At the very least, you can make good connections like we have. That's the very least. But then also you can like span like I do, like consultations, all that stuff, and you can span into other stuff. Promoting your residency services or whatever. So when some guys pretend like that's not an option for other people, again, it's their mindset of like, uh, I don't even want other people to start channels because it's going to take away from me, which is ridiculous, right? Because I know you did consultations with multiple people, and I was surprised that I was the first one to say, "Hey, consider YouTube." You know what I mean? By the time I met you. So I don't know, man. I said a lot of stuff, but uh, yeah, I guess the whole point of that was there are serious people and there are not serious people, and it's getting easier for me to weed out who is and who isn't serious. Um, but then once you get abroad too, like we know, um, some guys can meet one girl and get them pregnant within 4 or 5 fucking weeks of fucking meeting them, and like, wow, man, uh, that shouldn't be your plan either. You know what I mean? Hopefully. So,
Sometimes it's people older than you. So
hmm I'm like, damn, dude. Like, took all this effort to come here, and then within that very short time period, it's like you knocked one up. I was like, oh man, ooh, talk about a headache. Yeah,
yeah.
it's neither here nor there, but I'm just saying, like, holy Christ. Um, but yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, let me just last few comments, and then I'll let you close it out, Aaron,
Yeah.
after this.
Yeah, because
Um,
I know you got work tomorrow, so I'm not, and it's probably
yeah,
yeah, it's almost midnight on your end, so
yeah. Ulysses Traveler password bros are mostly lame. They lack communication skills. Yeah, a lot of them do. Chestnut Traveler or Chestnutters. Those password bros will be annihilated. Hell no. Okay, Andrea St. Emery password bros has developed a bad connotation. Hopefully, they convert back to the true meaning. Yep, collaboration with people and common respect. Many countries, but we share the same world. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, Aaron, if you have any last things you want to say for this conversation, and give us a prayer, Aaron. I'm just fucking with you.
Give us a
Pray
prayer.
for us, Aaron.
Oh my God, what can I say, man? I mean, I think as time has passed, I mean, I think more and more stories have come out with some of these guys. Um, with the whole passport bro movement and all that. And to be honest, I mean, I would really say like if you're like how do I put this? I think it's for entertainment. I mean, I'll be honest. I'll confess. I do follow up sometimes on like not all the time, but every now and then something pops up about this happened here and this happened there, and I'll look into it and stuff. But I think if you want to separate yourself from the go-getters, from the non-go-getters to the ones that are going out and doing the right steps, look for those mentors. If those mentors are certain people, obviously be careful who you follow and stuff. Um, because you got a lot of guys, and Brian knows this. I mean, I know it too, but you got a lot of guys out there that are these gurus, and they talk about dating, and you gotta have the 6 pillars of being a bro or a chatter or whatever theologies that these guys have. But at the end of it all, you got to look at the bigger picture of when it comes to seriously like either relocating, investing in real estate, obtaining residency, saving your money, um, doing it for your health. I think to be honest, I think above all else, you want to be in a place where you're I think more than anything in this world, and this is the message that's coming personally from me, like from the bottom of my heart. I really feel like above all everything else, you wanna travel and go to places where it does something. It really does something to your soul. Um, and I mean that in a very realistic and positive way, right? And a lot of these places right now that a lot of these quote unquote passport are going to, these are places that are just simply like the aura and the energy of those places. I haven't been to them myself, but I can imagine and I can free assume that there's bad intentions or there's vices and all this stuff. So you want to find places that like you want to find a place that's positive for you physically, health wise, your stress, right? Like one thing I really love what Ryan said to everybody right now is like some of you guys need to take a break. Like you really do. I almost didn't realize I needed a break until I stepped foot in Paraguay and spent about 3 weeks there, almost a month. If I could have, I probably would have spent like more than a month, maybe 2 months, right? But that alone, to be honest, has saved me in the sense of where I'm at right now because I'm in a position right now where I'm transitioning careers. Employment wise, I'm working part time and only temporary, and I'll be honest to you guys, like for on my end, money is tight, but I'm still doing okay. And deep down in my heart, I have no regrets, absolute no regrets that I took a chance on myself to to meet Ryan, to spend time with him, to get my residency in Paraguay, to meet the people that I met in the country. it is such a like. I have the most loving respect for for Paraguay and its countrymen, just like Ryan. Um, and like I said, you want to go to places where you feel, and not in a rose glass covered or honeymoon face type of way, but in a place that you know, okay, like this is a place that I can come back to, or I can stay for the long term. Whatever your situation is, but all in all, my message is travel, but travel. Keep in mind, or just how do I say it? How do I put this in the right words? Travel to places and be intentional of where you want to go. We have the internet, so whatever your interest is, we obviously have it at our fingertips, where we have an idea of where we want to go. If you want to go to these places that it's craziness, you got Carnaval in Brazil, out in Rio or Salvador, you got Soy Six in Thailand, or you got Poblado in Medellin, or you go to what is it, you know, Amsterdam out in the Netherlands. Go ahead, right? But if you want to go off the beaten path, if you're that kind of person, who's like, you know what, I'm gonna go to Paraguay. I'm gonna go to Asuncion. I'm gonna go to maybe somewhere in Kenya, or um, somewhere like Malaysia, or like anywhere that it aligns with what you are as a person and what you want and what you're looking for. Go for it. Make a plan. It's gonna be hard. It's not gonna be easy. You're gonna have moments, just like Ryan has, and like myself. You're gonna have moments where you feel like what am I doing? Is this worth it? Like, you know, should I quit my job? Which that's actually what I did before I took this trip to Paraguay, because I knew I wasn't gonna be able to go for more than 2 weeks. Um, really, really take a chance on yourself, like you said, because if not, if you don't do it, you're gonna you're gonna be stuck thinking about it. And like I said, on my end, I'm just so happy that I took a chance on myself. I brought my dad along with me, and we went to Paraguay, and I absolutely 1,000% can't wait to come back, like in the coming years. So, once I got more money, hopefully, and you know, once I'm ready to come back, um, yeah, I don't really know how else to end it, Ryan. But yeah, no, just the whole passport movement, like, don't how do I put this? It's cool for entertainment if you follow up with it, but definitely take a chance on yourself. Go off the beaten path. Go off the beaten path. Put in the time. Put in the research. Make connections. Like, talk to people, whether in person, online, and you're gonna see how your life's gonna change. I guarantee you. So that's all I got
Yeah,
to say right
yeah. No, I completely agree. I don't have anything else to add. Otherwise, make sure that you guys go follow Aaron, the Hispanic expat. Go follow Passport Blueprint. Uh, I know we're going to be having more conversations. Also, go follow Ulysses Travel, or Traveler.
now.
Um, uh, just in case anybody on my channel is, uh, yeah, needing to know those names.
Yeah.
We're going to do more conversations in the future. This was a really good one to have, right? Just analyzing where we're all at as men in the travel space. Because whether we like it or not, we're highly judged. I know there's a racial component to it, that black men are judged even more than the rest of us. But I think also us as men in general, we always get the short end of the stick because we live in Western societies that
Yeah.
have zero accountability for a lot of women, but there's high accountability for us. So, it's good to have this conversation for sure, even amongst folks of all races too. Especially if we're gonna keep it honest, especially beyond white folks, right? because we need to. You know, I said this very early on, but there needs to be a little bit more black and brown unity too when it comes to us traveling.
100%.
Uh, Even in our virtual spaces, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm gonna be out of here. Again, go follow all the channels I just mentioned. Thanks to everybody who was watching this live. And yeah, we're gonna break down more topics in the future. But yeah, I'll see you later, Aaron, and everybody else who was tuning in. So peace out. Ryan Aranda, my best life Paraguay. Yeah. See y'all later.